On Fantasy OT today, we're going to talk about 3 players whose stock is trending in the wrong direction. Number 1 on our list, Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman was drafted in the first round 2 years ago with the intention of replacing Marquise Brown. The Ravens felt so strongly about him that they felt like Brown was expendable, trading him to the Cardinals. And I think that's proven to be a mistake. Unfortunately, Bateman has not been able to stay healthy in his 2 years in the league. His first year, he had a groin injury requiring surgery, which delayed the start of his rookie season. And then last year, he suffered a foot injury causing him to miss 12 games. And he just hasn't been able to play enough games to warrant investing heavily in. And I think the Ravens are starting to lose patience with this. They drafted Zay Flowers in the first round this year. They brought in Odell Beckham. They obviously still have Mark Andrews. And I think they're just really starting to plan life without Bateman being their WR1. I think Bateman also had a small setback coming into this year. If I'm not mistaken, his foot surgery required screws, and when he got the screws removed, it left him with some discomfort, and he just has enough issues around him that makes me really leery about drafting him. I think this year, for his sake, I hope he's able to stay healthy, because when he has been able to stay healthy, he's shown his boom potential. He definitely is a deep threat and can get a lot of yards in a hurry, but he's not necessarily a possession receiver that's going to get you a lot of catches. If he is able to stay healthy this year, I think he could be a steal in the 13th round, but I don't think that's even worth taking a chance on. You could probably do better at that point, and he's just a little too risky for my liking. Next on our list, Treylon Burks. Burks unfortunately suffered an LCL sprain recently in practice, and that's going to cause him to be sidelined for the next few weeks, casting doubt over his week 1 availability. And I was already kind of worried about Burks given how quickly the Titans went out and signed DeAndre Hopkins. And let's not forget that Chigga definitely started to come on as the season went on last year. And so I think while Burks was drafted in the first round and on paper has all the makings for a number 1 receiver in this league, it just hasn't come together for him yet. He even was injured last year, suffering turf toe in week 4, and then he hit injured reserve. And then this year, he's already off to the wrong foot, leaving me worried that he's not going to be able to stay healthy long enough to be able to take over that number 1 role and command the type of targets we need for him to be a usable fantasy asset. I think this year he's going in around that 9th round, and I think that's just a little too risky for me. If you can get him in the 10th, 11th round, it might be worth taking a flyer on, but at this point, I don't see him much more than that. He really is a flyer, and I think he probably will have some splash games, but don't get it mixed up. Hopkins is definitely the number 1 receiver in Tennessee, and Derrick Henry is this offense's engine, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Number 3, Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox is actually a head-scratcher. The Bills gave him a 4-year, $53.6 million extension last year, so one would think that the tight end position would be the last thing they would be investing in coming into this year's draft, but we were wrong. They drafted Dalton Kincaid in the first round, who was actually a much better playmaker and better with the ball in his hands after the catch than Knox is. Knox has been a decent tight end in this league up until now, but he hasn't been good enough to warrant that type of contract in my opinion. And I don't think it's going to be long before Kincaid overtakes him on the depth chart. Knox is definitely going to get playing time because of his contract, but I don't think you go out and draft a tight end in the first round without the intention of using him. Kincaid is definitely going to be on the field, and I think he's going to be eating into Knox's snap share sooner rather than later. At this point, Knox isn't even really being drafted, and I think at best he might be a streamer this year, but if you're going to take a chance on a Buffalo tight end, Kincaid is the guy you want to go after. Those are 3 players I think are trending in the wrong direction. Please subscribe and let me know who you think stock is down in the comments below.